They say family is supposed to be your anchor. But mine? They tied me to a rock and shoved me straight into the ocean. My name is Jack. I'm 33. If you'd asked me a year ago, I would have said my life was normal, a steady job as a dentist, a modest apartment I was still paying off, the usual grind. Nothing flashy, nothing wild. But the thing about normal is, it can hide cracks so deep you don't see them until the whole floor caves in. And my floor collapsed the night my own family laughed in my face and called me toxic. That's the night I realized, sometimes the people who swear they love you are the very ones tightening the noose around your neck. But maybe I should start earlier. My dad died when I was 12. A heart attack out of nowhere. One minute he was teasing me about burnt toast, the next, he was gone. My world shattered. 2 years later, Mom remarried a man named Martin, who came with a son, Aaron, 9 years old at the time. Have you ever tried to grieve while pretending everything's fine? That was me, sharing my dad's house with strangers, forcing smiles. I told myself it would work. And in a way, it did. Aaron and I bonded over video games and late-night snacks. Martin wasn't cruel. He wasn't dad either, but he tried. Still. Trying doesn't make you family. By the time I left for dental school, we'd grown distant. I was consumed by lectures, sleepless nights, exams. I saw them on holidays, exchanged polite texts, smiled in family pictures. But closeness? That was gone. Then came the funeral. My grandmother, my dad's mother, passed away. She was my last living tie to him, and when she left, it felt like I lost him all over again. After the service, the lawyer read her will. Most of it was predictable. A few savings, jewelry split among relatives. But then, he paused. She left me her apartment. A modest 2-bedroom, worth maybe $250,000. I hadn't expected it, and when I heard my name, my chest tightened. It was like she reached out from the grave and whispered, "Jack, I still see you. I still choose you." But I wasn't the only one listening. And what they heard wasn't love, it was opportunity. We sat at a cafe afterward, the smell of burnt espresso hanging in the air. I casually mentioned renting the apartment out to help with my mortgage. Mom and Martin exchanged one of those silent looks couples give when they're already 2 steps ahead of you. Then Aaron leaned in. "I've been with my girlfriend, Sophie, for 2 years. We're outgrowing our studio. Grandma's place would be perfect." And just like that, the mask slipped. What would you have said? Because me? I hesitated. My gut screamed, "Don't do it." But my guilt whispered louder. I agreed. 1 year, I said. Utilities and upkeep are on you. And they promised. A year stretched into 14 months. I tightened my budget, skipped vacations, worked late nights. But I told myself it was worth it. At least they were grateful. At least it was family. Or so I thought. Then came the dinner. Mom invited me on a Saturday. I arrived with her favorite pie, expecting a quiet meal. But when I walked in, Sophie's parents were sitting at the table like royalty. My stomach sank. Halfway through, Aaron lifted his hand. A diamond ring sparkled on Sophie's finger. They were engaged. We all clapped, cheered, toasted. And then, Mom cleared her throat. "We need your help," she said. "The wedding will cost about $80,000. $80,000. For 1 day." I stared, waiting for the punchline. None came. Aaron leaned closer. "You're doing well, Jack. You can cover it. So here's the question, would you have laughed? Or cried?" I said, "I can maybe give 20. That's generous." Silence. Aaron's face hardened. Sophie's parents frowned. Then Mom looked at me like I'd spit on the floor. Don't be selfish, she said. And Aaron? He twisted the knife. What future are you even saving for? You don't have a girlfriend. You don't have kids. You have nothing. They laughed. My family. My mother. They laughed. And something inside me broke. I pushed back from the table. Not 1 cent. If you want a fairy tale wedding, earn it yourselves. But don't you dare treat me like a walking ATM. Aaron stood. You're toxic. You're not invited. And my mother, just nodded. Imagine that. The woman who gave me life nodding as I was cut out of hers. I walked out, shaking. Not one person tried to stop me. Not one. The next morning, I called a lawyer. Eviction papers were drafted, signed, and mailed. 30 days. That was all they had left. And then the phone started buzzing. Calls. Messages. Begging, bargaining, guilt-tripping. I ignored them all. Finally, Aaron got through. His voice cracked. You can't do this. Yes, I can, I said. Toxic people don't get to live rent-free in my apartment. He begged. He cried. He even tried to backtrack. Fine, we'll take the 20,000. But by then, it was too late. The day they moved out, I sat in my car across the street, engine off, watching. Boxes piled high. My mother red-eyed and pale. Martin grim. Sophie silent. And Aaron, fiery, furious, marched over, tossed the keys through my window. I hope you're happy, he spat. And for the first time in years, I was. Because family isn't blood. It isn't holidays or photo albums or forced laughter over dinner. Family is the people who stand with you when there's nothing to gain. So if walking away from the rest makes me toxic, then maybe toxic is exactly what I needed to be. Now I'll ask you this. If you were me, would you have kept the peace and paid, or walked away and shut the door forever?